click the record, and you're going to have to say you're okay with recording. All right. So can you start by telling us your name and why we're doing this interview?
Hi, I'm Fran Rodriguez, and I'm a member of the Lay Pastoral team. And I wanted to introduce myself to the congregation.
Thanks. So we're starting by being by being honest about what the last year has been like. So what's been the most challenging thing about the last year for you?
I was thinking of Elizabeth Barrett Browning's poem, How Do I Love Thee? And I was thinking of how many worries do I have? Let me count the ways. I just worried about so much this year. My children, both of my kids are involved with theater, and so naturally they were unemployed all year. My New York kids work in the front house of theaters, and so they were able to get unemployment insurance. My West Coast son is a sound designer for theaters and works on contract and was not able to get unemployment insurance. So their whole income was dependent on his wife, who is a healthcare worker. She's a nurse practitioner and was right in the throes of things. So I worried about that. I worried about the world and if we're ever going to get through this pandemic and all the things that we can't do because of it. And then for a while, getting the vaccine and thinking, oh, yay, now we can get together again. And then, oh, no, you can't. It's getting worse again. And I'm going through PTSD, and I think everyone else is too. And like, when is this all going to end? But there's always hope. And that's a good thing. That the fact that we're going through all these changes gives us time to realize that not everything that we were doing before worked. One little secret is that I have a lot of vanity, and I used to dye my hair all the time to make myself think that I was younger than I actually am. And during the pandemic, I couldn't go to the hairdresser. My hair was getting increasingly gray as I cut off the ends, and lo and behold, I had white hair. Oh my gosh, who's that old lady in the mirror? These kinds of things. And then communicating more often with people through Zoom and having to see that face over and over again. Who is that? Who is that person that's staring back? And combined with not getting together with friends, not being able to see my kids, it's been hard. And I have it easier than a lot of other people. My kids are grown and on their own. I don't have to worry about their schooling. I'm retired. I don't have to do my job at home. I think it would be easier. It hasn't been. It hasn't. It's got its challenges, and it's been tough. It's been tough. I have to admit, there are days when I just want to curl up in a ball and shut the whole world out. And other days when I want to embrace it in spite of all the things that are going on. So it's been my year.
Yeah. Well, and I had a friend who, when I said, I have days where I just want to curl up, who said, why don't you? Put it on your calendar, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, starting to think that's okay. It took a while to accept that that's okay, because you want to think you have to keep doing. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
You
Yeah.
don't. So what's helped you get through the last year?
So many things. I think you could boil it all down to one word, is love. Of friends, of family, of self. Taking care of oneself is a kind of love. I found an online yoga practice that I could do at home because I couldn't go to the yoga studio anymore. And it's nice because I can choose how long I want to do it every day. And it's very loving, and it's a way to get centered. And I discovered some things doing that the spinal column that goes through us, that's our central point. And the whole purpose of yoga is to balance one side against the other through that central point, through breathing and through releasing the tension spots. It's really a wonderful way to stay in balance when I am in balance. Anyway, sometimes that doesn't work, but and doing meditations and writing and taking walks. And one of my greatest loves that I've discovered during the pandemic that I hadn't before is writing letters to my grandson, which he can read now. So it's really a joy. He takes the letters into his room and reads them and then comes out and announces to his parents what I told him. And then that joy was expanded when he decided to write me a letter himself. He actually wrote a 4-page letter to me telling me, and
At 5?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, his mom works with him a lot. I know that was part of, but I mean, he spelled a lot of the words right, and some of them were creative spelling, but he started off thanking me for all of the letters and told me a little bit about his classroom. And then he said, "I miss you." And that just grabbed me. I mean, it just things like that. I carry it around in my purse now if I'm going to leave the house because I want it with me all the time. It's my touchstone now. But there's so many other things. And my sister and I started sending us pictures of things we discovered on our walks. And my nephew is now sending me silly cat pictures of his new kitten. And things like that are just so wonderful. And on my walks, I've discovered all the friendly kitties in the neighborhood. There's just some little cats that they'll just run up to you and they'll get in your way, so you have to stop and pet them. It's so cute. And then there was my neighbor's cat, Ruthie, is a little bit standoffish. And the cat down the street, Smokey, is very friendly. And the two cats were having a standoff on my front porch. And I came out and I was watching them just glaring at each other with that cat growl. And then Smokey, the friendly kitty, stopped and said, "Oh, I know you." And she circled me a few times and then went back to growling at Ruth. Those are things that just add a spark and remind you that life is going on and there's a lot of joy out there. Along
Little
with
bits
other
of
stuff.
joy and love. Yeah, little bits.
And then as far as my hair goes, I decided finally, the heck with blow drying it and making it all straight when it's naturally very curly. And I made it purple, embracing the inner hippie in me.
I love the purple hair. I really do.
It feels very me. And I know, if I stops working, I don't have to do it anymore because it's temporary. It's fun. So there's a lot of joy in life, even in hard times. And I think that's the thing to look for the joy. And we all have stories. We all have stories. Our life is filled with stories. And sometimes those stories get stuck in us, the ones that aren't working for us and we can't let go. And I think that's where we lay ministers come in, or lay pastoral team come in, because we can listen to those stories. And sometimes just being able to tell them to someone else helps you to let go of it.
That's a good segue, because my last question is what kind of support do you feel like you're able to offer others?
Yeah, just lovingly listening, unconditional, non-judgmental, and just being there when people need to let go.
Well, thank you so much. I think